गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Om. Today is Wednesday, so we are supposed to discuss Sugama. Okay, Adhyasa Bhashya. I think it is going on and on and on. How many days it will take? Probably it will take more. 70, I think around little more than 50% is over. 70, totally 71 points. Out of the 71, 41 are over. So more than 50% we have covered. It will take little more time. Have patience with me. To complete Sugama, you should have patience. Okay. Now the point was, Anadhyastha Atma Bhavena Dehena Nakinchit Vyapriyate. So without the body, which is Adhyastha. See, in English it is easy to express. Without the body which is Adhyastha upon the Atman. Without such a body, you cannot function. You cannot do any pramana vyavahara. We also told in the past class, because we had some gap, I think, one gap, I don't know. So in the past class we said that this adhyasa is anadi, identification with the body. Taking myself to be the body is anadi, because when I take body to be myself, then only I assume myself to be a jiva, an individual. The notion of I exists only in identification with body. Notion of I exists with an identification with the body. You may say, oh, of course, in Manushya Janma, you have a body. But after your death, if you are in heaven, or if you are in between in the loka, you have left the Manushya loka and not reached the other loka, then do you have a body? Oh, you don't have. Then if you don't have the body, how can you function? How can your sense organs function? Shastra says there is a body even during that condition. Ativahika Sharira. You have a temporary body which carries you to another place. You have a temporary body. Ativahika Sharira. If you are living in any particular loka, that body pertaining to that loka, you will have the body. But some body you must have. That's what Shastra is telling. A body is always there in some or other body. If you are in Pitraloka, you have the Pitraloka body. If you are in Svargaloka, you have a Svargaloka body. If you are in Brahmaloka, you have a Brahmaloka body. Somewhere in any part of the world, in anywhere, wherever you are in the body. When you have no body, you are like in deep sleep. Two things it takes. Understand this very clearly. If you have no body, if you are not conscious of the body, you are like in deep sleep. In deep sleep, neither you have jivatvam nor you have adhyasa. Because you have no adhyasa and no jivatvam. And without the body, you are like in deep sleep. That means you are not a jiva. Very clear. When you have identified with the body only, you are in some loka. Some loka. Either in Manushya loka, or Pitraloka, or Svargaloka, or Vaikuntha loka, or even Naraka, or even prani, animals and plants. Some body is always there. Then the question which I already answered, in between the lokas, you have left the Manushya loka and you are yet to reach other loka. In between what happens? On the way to the loka, what happens? Are you without the body? No, you have some tentative body, like your hired loka. Just as before you reach Bangalore, you take a bus or take some train or something, a tentative vehicle. Okay, similarly, a vehicular body. Ativahika deha means a vehicular. Ativahika, that carries you. In our modern language, you have to say a vehicular body. A vehicle you have. So, every time Jiva has some or other body, in short. So, without being identified with a body, you don't find yourself to be an individual. And without being an individual, there is no pramana, prameya, vyavahara. There is no vyavahara of karma, bhoga, knowledge. Knowledge, that is knowing. There is no relationship of knowing, no relationship of acting, no functioning. No functioning of knowing, no functioning of acting, no functioning of experiencing. That means kartru, bhoktru, pramatru. Pramatru, kartru, bhoktru. All these three require the body. Therefore, anadhyasta atma bhavena na kinchid vyapriyate. I have said something. Anyway, whatever I have to say in my last class, like in dream. On this, there is a big discussion. Oh, Swamiji made 2-3 pages discussion on that. It's a very interesting, important topic. Swamiji himself wrote 3 pages discussion on that. We'll discuss that also. It may take few more classes. Have patience with me. Like in dream, when you have a body, or when you are in a possession of the body, you find yourself in dream or in waking. When you don't have the dream body, you are free from dream. So being associated with the body and finding yourself in dream, being associated with the dream body and also finding yourself in dream are not two things. Okay, being associated with the body and finding yourself in dream are not two things, they are just one. You find yourself in dream, that means you are in possession of a body. You are identified with one body. When you are not identified with body, then you are outside the dream. You are not in the dream. You are not a part of a dream. You are totally a different thing. So here, and this identification with the body is anadi ananta. Okay, anadi ananta, this also I have told you. Anadi, beginningless. Because you can never trace its beginning. Nobody can ever trace. Because it's by nature beginningless. It's by very nature beginningless and endless also. If you are dreaming, goes on. Dreaming, the dream goes on and you go on dreaming. You only transcend it and the dream ends. Ends means what? Dream doesn't exist for you. Doesn't exist for you means what? Dream is inseparable from you. You have no dream world at all. When you are not experiencing the dream, it doesn't exist. That you know it. When you are not experiencing the dream, it doesn't exist. It exists neither for you nor for others. When you are not experiencing the dream, it exists neither for you nor for others. Because dream is only when you are experiencing. In short, dream is dream only when you are experiencing as a dreamer, only when you are part of a dream. When you are not experiencing, no dream. Similarly, waking is a waking to whom? Waking is for whom? People say, there was some topic like that. Somebody discussed like that. Okay, dream is my personal. So dream is for whom? Dream is for me. Then what about waking? Waking is for everybody. See, this is how people say. I mean, worldly people. Waking is common for all, is a common state, experienced by many people together, whereas the dream is personal. Okay. Dream is personal and private, whereas waking is common to all. This is again a big mistake. This is a big mistake. Waking is also personal only. You are experiencing waking. Now, do you experience waking a combined way, a collectively? By collectively means I understand, I'll tell you like this. There is a big table. A chair you can lift. You can lift a chair, but you can't lift a big table. Big table means a big table like a, what is that? Some tennis, table tennis. Okay, the table tennis table, you see how big it is. Oh, nowadays you can lift, probably it is, but I saw in my younger days, the table tennis is a very big table, huge table. The table, single person cannot lift it. So people, 10 people together combined lift it. Okay. When you say common, is it a combined experience? When you say dream is my personal and private. Okay. Then what about waking? But waking is common to all, because we all experience. We all experience means what? Do you mean waking is a combined experience? That means when I perceive it, a part of it you perceive, a part of it I perceive, and we combine together and have a perception. Do we have a joint perception, a combined perception? Or each one has his own perception? You perceive a color, I also perceive. Is there any common combination or a joint perception? No joint perception. If I am hungry, is there any joint hunger? You also feel hungry, I also feel hungry, and combined together becomes a higher hunger. There is no combined hunger. Okay. There is no combined hunger. There is no joint hunger. Similarly, there is no joint pain and pleasure. Supposing you also fall sick, I also fall sick. You pick up the fever, I pick up the fever. Yet, both of them pick up the fever at the same time. Yet, your experience of fever is yours, my experience of fever is mine. There is no combined experience of fever. Okay. Nobody has. Similarly, how can you say waking is a combined experience, common experience? Waking is also personal and private. Watch it, look at yourself. Waking is also personal experience alone. You see other people as a part of your waking state. Do you see people without yourself being in waking? Do you see people without yourself being in waking? Without yourself being in waking, you can't come to experience other people. You don't know the waking world, waking people. When you are in waking, then other people are already part of you. Okay? Other people. Just like in dream. When you are in dream, during dream, you see other people are also sharing your waking state. Sharing means similar. Not that there is a combined dream state. During dream state, you never felt it is a dream. During dream state, you felt it was a waking state alone. And you saw the other people, they are also like you living in the world. All of them are seeing the world to be waking state, a waking world. Therefore, during dream, the dream appears like a waking state. It is a dream only on waking up. On waking up, you call it a dream. But while experiencing, you experience it as a waking. You never experience it as a dream. Nobody has experienced a state as a dream ever in his life. This is what our Shastras say. Gaudapadacharya says, and all our Upanishads say, see, nobody ever experiences dream as a dream. You experience only as a waking. Okay? Therefore, there is only a waking state. There is no dream state. Dream is a state only when you wake up from it, then you call it a dream. You call your waking state as a dream after you give it up, after you come out of it. Okay, after you come out of it, you call it a dream state. But while experiencing, you experienced it as a waking state alone, as a waking world. Okay. Now, what you call as a dream state, you are looking at it as an outsider. You are away from the state, you have come out of the state, and then look at the state and call it a dream. Okay, but while experiencing, did you experience it as a dream? No. Watch it. While experiencing, you experience it is like a waking. That means any state which is a current state, any state when you are directly experiencing, you are in the experience, it is waking alone. Any state that you experience it as waking alone. Okay? Because this is how our experience is. We don't need any other logic, any other argumentation for it. This is how it is. We are only pointing out the facts, and you only have to look at it. The way Shastra points out, you look at it, yeah, it is true. Nobody can deny it. Therefore, dream is only an falsification. Okay, therefore, when you experience as a waking, then how many wakings you have got? There is only one waking. When you are in one waking, can you think of another waking? Let me see. How can you think of another waking? What is that another? There is no thought of another. The very another is a part of this waking. You can't think of another waking. Can you think of another waking? Then there is only one waking. Okay? There is only just one waking. You call it dream, therefore there is only one state. One is the same thing you look at from two angles. One is the way you are experiencing it. Another is you wake up from it. The same state you look at from two angles. One is when you are part of it, when you are experiencing it, when you identify with it, when you are within it. Another is you are outside it. The same state when you are outside it, call it a dream. The same state when you are within it, call it waking. This is what it is. The same state when you are experiencing it, you call it waking. The same when you come out of it, you call it a dream. Therefore, there are no two states. There are only two ways of looking, two standpoints of looking at the same state. Okay. All this will come more in the Avastatraya Viveka. In Paramartha Chintamani, of course, we are discussing in Kannada. I think this Kannada is giving some trouble to some people. Some people are complaining, Swamiji, I am not able to understand Kannada. You are giving too many classes in Kannada. And our Ram Prakash also says, Swamiji, Kannada, many people can't hear, can't understand. You shift to English. No Kannada classes at all. Have only English classes. I too feel little more convenient because I am not fluent with Kannada. I feel more comfortable with English. Anyway, Sanskrit words we have to use, and you have to explain whatever language you use it. But I find stumble many places in Kannada. I find difficulty. So, waking and dream are not two states. They are two ways of looking. Both are experiences. One is you are identify with it. Another is you just deny. You just come out of it. Okay. Therefore, you see, anadhyasta atma bhavena. Let us continue with the topic. So, this is anadi. Your identification with the body is anadi. When you are in the body, you have the vyavahara. Vyavahara means what? Entire state. Pramatru, pramana, prameya, karta, karma, karma phala, bhokta, bhogya, no, karta, karana, karma, and bhokta, bhogya, bhoga. Bhokta, bhogya, bhoga. So all these three vyavahara is only under your identification with the body. And anadhyasta atma bhavena dehena. Okay, then we'll continue this thing. I think I have explained sufficiently clear. Now we'll proceed. But this point Swamiji himself elaborately discusses. We will discuss there only. Therefore, nayam abhiprayo anadhyasta atma bhavo dehaha yo dehaha tena nakischad vyapriyate. This point also I have made it clear. There is no body which you don't identify with it. This is a beautiful point. Most important point of Vedanta. I think I discussed in my previous class. You cannot see a body with which you have not identified. Then it is not a body, it becomes an object. So, you do not have a body with which you don't identify. Without identification, you cannot think of a body. Body means you are already under identification. Body means you are already under identification. Under identification, you can feel the body. Body is a body for you only through I thought. The same thing I express through another way. Body is a body for you only through I notion. Without I notion, body doesn't come to you, come to your experience. Your body doesn't come to your experience without your I notion. Okay, it comes to you. Body comes into your experience only through your I notion. Without I notion, there is no body in your experience. Okay, if you have that means body and I notion and state, all three are one. Body, the I notion, I notion comes to you only through body. Body is a body only through I notion. So I notion, body and the state, all the three are one. Okay, I notion, that is individuality or jivatvam, jiva bhava, jivahood, and the body, and also when there is a body, when there is I notion. When there is I notion, there is a world, there is a state. So all these three, don't call as three, they are only three ways of describing the one experience. Okay, it is a one experience you are describing in three ways. Okay, I notion, body and the state. Same one experience, you are talking three words. There are no three experiences. I notion, body is already there. Without body, you have no I notion. And once you have an I notion and the body, there is already the state. There is already a waking state. There is already a waking world and waking state. So there is a waking state. That means waking body is there. Once there is a waking body and waking state, there is a waking I notion. Once there is an I notion, there is a body and there is a state. All this is one experience, one indivisible. We are dividing for our convenience, for our communication. But your Anubhava finds all these three as one unitary, one unitary experience. Undivided means you divide it for our communication, but unitary, let us say one block, one unitary experience. I notion, the pramanas, the body, and the world that you experience. Okay, all these three are one unitary experience. And this is an anadi. This is called, we say, adhyasa. Without adhyasa, there is no pramana prameya vyavahara. There is a pramana prameya vyavahara. It means that there is already adhyasa. You are within adhyasa. If you are using pramanas, if you are seeing the world, you are already under adhyasa. Because without adhyasa, no pramata, no pramatrutvam, no individuality, no body and the no world. This is what he told it. Okay. Tadrisha dehasyaiva nabhyapagamat apitu yadi dehashraya vyaparena vyaparavanatma angekartavyaha tarhi dehena adhyastatma bhavena iva bhavitavyam. This is beautiful. Yadi dehashrita vyaparena vyaparavanatma, Atma is taken to be functioning only through the bodily function. Atma is taken to be functioning Atma only through body, because bodily functions are taken to be the function of the Atma, because Atma itself doesn't have any functions. Function means any relationship. Function means relation. Relations are three types. One is a knowing, a relation in terms of knowing, a relation in terms of acting, relation in terms of experiencing. Okay? Experience is a relation. Act is a relation. Understanding, knowing is a relation. So you have these three types of relations: knowing, acting, and thinking. That's why in these three relationships, you assume knowership, knowerhood, agent of action, that is doerhood, and also experiencership. Ship or hood, we don't know what language we have to say. Anyway, English is not our language. Experiencerhood or experiencership. That is your individuality. You are in these three. Therefore, these three are again together one only. They can't be separated. For communication, we divide, but Anubhava is one. When you are knowing, you are also getting related. When you are related, you get a pain, pleasure, nice, and all those things happen. Therefore, Dehashraya Vyaparena Vyaparavana Atma. So, Atma is said to be functioning only when it is under the identification. Atma is said to be functioning under the identification. Just a minute. I take a paper for my noting certain things. No, I've lost my papers somewhere. Okay, take another paper. Atma is said to be, how to say that? Vyaparavan. Vyaparavan means, what do you say? Functioning or active. Can you say active? Okay. Atma is said to be active only under identification. Vyaparavan. How to translate? I always remember whenever I have to speak in English, Vivekananda's words. Vivekananda, somebody told, why are you speaking in English? He told, because the audience knows English alone, what can I do? And I would have been happier, he told. He would say, I would be happier if I had to speak in Sanskrit, because it would be easy to communicate. Okay, Vyaparavan means active. Okay, Atma is active. Dehashraya Vyaparena, under the identification of the body. Atma is active under the identification of the body. Means what? Under the identification of the body. See here, Atma, we shouldn't think like that. This is a wrong to say that Atma identifies with the body, then it becomes active. Then it starts acting. No. Identification with the body means identification with the actions also. That means imposing the body means imposing the functions also. See the difference? When you impose the body, you impose the bodily functions upon the Atma. So just as body is an imposition, bodily functions are also imposition. The relations also imposition. The knowledge means the thoughts and ideas and knowing other subjects, that is also a relationship. Relation with an external object is also an imposition. Don't think that, don't think means this is what I have been told in Mula Vidya and I had to make a lot of corrections. I don't know, I am also afraid that you might get that Mula Vidya understanding, so I have been repeating to correct you. This is how we have been told, and that creates a lot of misunderstanding. So it doesn't mean that you only identify with the body. Okay, you shouldn't think like that. You only identify with the body and then act. Okay, identify with the body and then act. Okay, then act and get related with the things. Get related with the things means with the world. Now, first they put it two levels. One is identify with the body, then relate with objects. Two levels they say. But here we have to understand, along with the identification with the body, the relationships are also equally impositions, adhyasa only. Act, body is adhyasa inasmuch as the bodily functions are also adhyasta. Relationship with the body, with the rest of the world is also adhyasta. See, just as body is adhyasa, the acts are adhyasa, the relationships are adhyasa, the experiences are also, all are impositions, all are identifications alone. They say only adhyasa is with the body and the functions are not. This is the problem. This is what I have been taught as a Mula Vidya student. Not only I have been taught, I was also teaching as a Mula Vidya teacher. I also taught like that for a long time. Okay, so identification is with the body. That's why you see Swamiji says, every word of Swamiji has got something to convey, something fresh. No sentence, no word goes waste. That's the beauty of Swamiji's or even Shankara's. No word goes waste. Every new word he adds one extra point. No, that's why you see, watch. Dehashrita vyaparena vyaparavanatma. Beautiful statement. Dehashrita vyaparena vyaparavana atma. Body is imposed on the Atma. Just as body is imposed, the bodily functions are imposed. Okay? Bodily functions and relationship with the rest of the world. Relationships are also imposed. Okay? And experiences are imposed. And knowledges are also imposed. See. What we called knowledge, knowledge means what? Two things are. Knowledge is consciousness and also relationship. Knowledge means consciousness and also a relativeness. The relativeness is imposed. Consciousness is Atma only. So the knowledge means what? You only get related. The relationship is imposed along with the body is imposed. Karma is imposed, then the body is also imposed. Then the experiences are imposed, body is imposed. So along with the imposition of the body, identification with the body, knowledge also is an identity. You don't know, you only impose the knowledge. Knowledge means relationship, in this sense. The relationship is imposed. Acts are imposed. Experiences are imposed. You don't act. You don't act. You don't experience. Experiences. You feel as if you are undergoing experiences. Experiences are imposed upon the Atma. Atma is ever free from experiences. Atma is ever free from actions and functions. Along with the body, functions are also put upon the Atma. Functions means movement. Atma is motionless. Atma is free from movement, unchanging. But the changes are imposed upon the Atma. The relations are imposed upon the Atma. Knowledges means knowing relatives, relative knowings. Relationship in terms of knowing, let us say. Relationship in terms of knowing are also imposed upon the Atma. Okay. Therefore, you see, Vyapara, when the body gets related, see, once you identify with the body has got mother, body has got father. You get a father and mother. You get a brother and sisters. How? Through the body. If once you own up the body, then you get mothers and you get parents to you. If you are not the body, there are no parents to you, because parents are through the body, isn't it? You have a parents, you have brothers and sisters through the body. You have the world relate to through the body. Under the condition of the body, you are related to the world. That means what? The world, the relationship with the world is also equally adhyasa as the body is adhyasa. Okay? As the body is adhyasta, the world, its a relationship also equally adhyasta. That means whole thing is one adhyasa. The world, it's a relationship, and the body. Body, it's a relationship with the rest of the world, and the world doesn't mean body and the world, don't say. This is a wrong expression. Body and the world, jiva and the world, no. Jiva and the rest of the world, because jivatvam is also world. Body is also world, and the rest is also world. Therefore, body and the rest of the world. Don't say body and the world. Okay? I think you know the difference. Body and the rest of the world. Rest means what? Including body is also world. Body is also world. Jivatvam is world. Consciousness is not. Consciousness taken to be an individual, the individuality is a part of the world. But the existence is not part of the world. The consciousness is not part of the world. The individuality, consciousness is taken to be individual. The existence taken to be as an individual, that individuality is part of the world. Existence is not. Consciousness is not. But the knowership, the knowing individual, acting individual is again part of the world. Okay? So, just as the body, along with the body, all that goes with the body is also equally adhyasa. As the body is adhyasa, all that goes with the body is also equally adhyasa. The entire avastha is adhyasa. That's why Bhashyakara says adhyasam puraskritya sarve pramana prameya vyavaharaha. Oh, prameya, the word you note it. I don't know how they Mula Vidyavadins miss it. Adhyasam puraskritya pramana prameya vyavahara. They say two things. They say adhyasa is with the body and the vyavahara is something different. It is an additional, they take it. See, shall I give you an example? You are supposed to board a bus or car, whichever you take it. Because those who are used to car take car, but we were used to bus in those days, so bus alone. Let us say car, okay, car or bus. You are supposed to board one car, one vehicle, and there were many more than one vehicle. You mistook it and you boarded another bus, and that earlier bus has to go somewhere and you boarded another bus by mistake. By mistake, you boarded another bus. Then what happens? The bus will take you to another place. As the bus started moving from the city, and the city also you have gone few kilometers out of the city, then you understand, oh, I got into wrong bus because I have come to a different place. Okay. Now, when you correct it, what happens? When you get down the bus, you will be in another place, isn't it? That means, see, what I mean to say is, by mistake you board another bus. Not only boarding is wrong, boarding is a mistake, but once you board a wrong bus, the bus is real. The bus travels, takes you to another place, that is real. The mistake is only you boarded in a wrong bus. That's all. In the this is worldly experience. Boarding a wrong bus is a mistake, but the bus is not mistake. Okay, this is not adhyasa. I am giving a contrasting example, wrong example. It's not suited to adhyasa, so that you will understand it. See, your boarding alone is a wrong, but the bus is not wrong, and the bus will take you to another place is not wrong. All that is true, because truly you will end up in another place. You take another example. You boarded a bus. You are boarding a bus in dream. There, your boarding is dream. The bus is dream. The bus takes you to another place is also dream. All these three are equally mistakes. You are boarding the bus is a wrong bus is a mistake. The bus is also a misunderstanding. Your traveling is also misunderstanding. Reaching in another place is also misunderstanding. Or misunderstanding means all this is in one dream. But whereas in waking, you take only partial example. Only I boarded a wrong bus. Yes, instead of selecting that bus, I selected another bus. But the boarding is real, the bus is real, and you are traveling to another place is real. It is not a mistake. Mistake is only instead of one bus, you thought of another bus. The mistake lies there alone. But here when we say adhyasa applies like a dream. Not only you select a wrong bus in dream, you select a wrong bus. That is a dream. You board the bus. Boarding the bus is a dream. The bus is dream. Traveling is in dream. Reaching another destination is also dream. All that is one dream, illusion only. Therefore, this second one is the example suits Vedanta. Okay, I hope you have understood. Mistake is, people think that mistake is only in thought. But even under mistake, the action is true. This is what they think. This is wrong. People think that because this is what we have been told. The mistake alone is mistake. But the karma you do under mistake is right. See, the karma, they say, your identification, Purupakshi says that your identification with the body alone is an identification. That alone is adhyasa. But once you identify, with that body, the action you carry out, and then the functions you do, see the things, and you go elsewhere and experience, all that is there. Only identification with the body alone is mithya. This is Purupakshi. This is not the right understanding of adhyasa. Okay? Am I clear or am I confusing you? Not only your identification with the body, after that, whatever functions, knowledge, relationship, experiences happens, all that is within adhyasa. All that is within dream. Now you see, this is entire state is adhyasa. Then you understand clearly. Okay. Mistake, and under the mistake anything happens is also mistake. Means, are there two? There are not two. One is mistake, and the functioning post mistake. There is no post mistake. This is important. They say first mistake and post mistake. First mistake means adhyasa. First there is adhyasa, and post adhyasa functions. There is no post adhyasa. There is no post mistake. The whole thing, identification with the body, and with the identification with the body, whatever you do, whatever you experience, whatever you know it, all that is also equally one adhyasa. All this is one adhyasa. There is no post adhyasa. Post adhyasa is also adhyasa only. Okay? That means don't divide into a process of events, and first event is adhyasa and later event are real events. Because you take that example of you are supposed to go to the bus stand, you are supposed to board a bus. Instead of boarding that bus, you by mistake you boarded another bus. Okay. When you board another bus, what happens? The mistake is in selecting a wrong bus. But once you select it, boarding it and traveling it, all that is a different thing. All that is a real event. Only mistake is only wrong bus. Okay? This example cannot be applied to adhyasa. Because in adhyasa, your wrong bus is also adhyasa. Body is also adhyasa. Then with adhyasa, whatever you do functions, all of them are not post adhyasa, they are also adhyasa. Not post adhyasa, they are also adhyasa. All that put together is one adhyasa. Okay? Don't divide it to adhyasa and post adhyasa events. All events put together is one adhyasa. Okay? After adhyasa, you can't say after adhyasa. Because all events put together is one adhyasa. Entire waking state is one adhyasa. Including all the functions. All the functions within adhyasa are also adhyasa. Okay? All the functions within the misunderstanding. Okay, now okay, so therefore, yadi dehashrita vyaparena vyaparavana atma angikartavyaha tarihi dehena adhyastatma bhavena iva bhavyam. If all the functions of the body are attributed to the atma only through the body, through the body you attribute all the functions, all the objects, all the experiences, all the knowledges, through the body you attribute to the atma. That means body, identification with the body, attributing the body to atma, and the remaining everything, anything happens through that identification. All that is within adhyasa. Okay. Tarhi dehena adhyastatma bhavena bhavitavyam. If you have to do all these functions, all these knowledges, all these experiences, if you have to undergo, all these experiences, acts, that is functions and knowledges and relationship, all of them are within adhyasa. Without adhyasa, nothing happens. Anyatha tad vyaparena atmani vyaparatva asangata. Otherwise, what happens? Atma would not come under any functioning. The functioning also adhyasta. Therefore, during that adhyasa alone, you think you have identified with the body, you have seen, you have experienced, you have done karmas, all that. But once you reject adhyasa, falsify adhyasa, understand Atma is ever free, then not only the body is lost, not only the body is not there for the Atma, even the bodily functions, knowledges, relationships, object, the world, entire world disappears. Only Atma remain. The whole world is you. The whole body, along with the body, entire world, experiences, knowledges, actions, functions, everything is Atma alone, nothing is other than Atma. In one stroke, the world disappears and you become Advaitam Atma. Otherwise, Advaita is not possible. If you take only body is Adhyasa and remaining world is different. Post Adhyasa. Don't call it as post Adhyasa. Okay? There is no such thing called post. All put together is one Adhyasa. Adhyasa means they are falsely attributed to Atma. That means Atma is ever free from all that. Atma is ever free from the body and the anything, any experiences, any actions, any knowledges, everything through the body. Under the adhyasa of the body, all that doesn't exist for Atma. That means they are all one with the Atma. Atma doesn't have anything else. Okay. With this, we have concluded the 41st. Now we have to start 42nd. Swamiji carries out some discussion on it. It is a very beautiful discussion. It helps you to understand adhyasa very clearly. Each sentence is a great manana, is a great blessing, is amrita tulya. Dehatmano sambandhasya adhyasvikatve shanka samadhane. Atma and the body. The relation with the Atma and the body is nothing but a confusion, nothing but a misunderstanding, nothing but an illusion. There is no real body and no real identification. Okay? Regarding this adhyasa of the body upon the Atma, there are some doubts and those doubts are cleared. Questions and answers. Okay. Syadasau. I think I am tired. We will stop it. Okay. Because the question is a very long question. I think it is 1-page question. Purvapakshi questions how body is adhyasta upon the Atma. Purvapakshi questions it. So 1 page is a question and answer is 1.5 pages answer. I think we will see in the next class. I am tired. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.